said, look at his TikTok. God,
We're live.
He reminds me of you, not disillusional of you.
Me?
See how many people I have to text? This is all I get. So when you text and say, guys, I'm waiting, trust me, you'll be waiting because I will go all day without picking up this damn phone. Seriously. My cell phone is not at my hip like
Hey everybody, and thank you for joining us on The Blunt Truth. I'm here with my boys, Nathan and Jamie. How y'all doing?
I'm alive.
Alive. What does that mean?
I'm alive. Breathing in and out. What else could I expect out of this treacherous planet?
Oh wow. We went from nation to treacherous.
Make sure
planet.
you'll speak up a little bit too. Last time it was a little low. So,
Wait a minute.
are you not feeling positive today, Jamie?
No.
No?
Jamie, why are you not feeling positive today?
Share, Jamie.
I'd rather not.
Is it school, Jamie?
No, it's not school.
Is it a loved one, Jamie?
Mm.
Is it politics, Jamie?
Let's not
Are we
badger
having a
him.
bowel movement issue, Jamie? Are we constipated?
Let's not badger him.
No.
He can share if he wants. So we've got some good news. Let's start off by congratulating Nathan. He is now Mr. Gay World USA.
Yay!
So that means he's the gayest person on earth.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
I
let's
doubt
give him
that.
no.
Haters.
Astounding.
So this is a wine drinking show, except for Jamie. He's not drinking wine, but we're drinking wine. So
Yeah. No wine.
it's good wine though. It's really good. It's Behringer Brothers. So if you have it, they have it at Publix. This is in a bourbon barrel aged Cabernet Sauvignon, so it's really, really good. So if you look interested in eating wine, it's really, really good. Let's see.
Everybody's been buying wine at my job.
So this month's sponsor, I said last week, is Espanique. He is a hip hop artist. He has a clothing line, so check him out on Instagram. His IG is Espanique, ESPNIQUE. Very, very good. I don't really get into hip hop, but he's really, really good. And his clothing line is pretty cool too. It's ESP. It's got some cool designs, so check it out. He's actually the first sponsor for 2021 that actually cooperated. So I'm going to give him his props and promote him as much as I can. Excuse me. And
Does he have a website?
it's on his Instagram.
Instagram.
You get everything from Instagram. So again, his Instagram is ESPNIQUE, Espanique. And check him out. It's definitely worth it. My new book, The Cool, the Better, the Devil You Know, is now on Amazon Kindle as of 2 weeks ago. So you can get the whole series on Amazon Kindle.
Yes.
So definitely check that out. And I'd like to thank my new cover model, Jarrell James. He is awesome. He's on the third book cover, and he was amazing. So he looks really, really good. He's just a natural. He's got the look that I wanted. So we did that.
Wait, hold a second. What
Yes.
do you mean he's the cover model? What happened to, you didn't ask me to be the cover model or Jamie to be the cover model. What's up with that?
You know, that's not what I wanted.
That's not what he wanted, okay?
Okay.
I mean, y'all are extremely handsome dudes, but I wanted this vampire look that, you know.
That I do not have.
Right. You don't have that
Me
look.
either.
Yeah. So. But Jarrell did really, really good for he's not a model at all, but he has the look that I wanted. So check out the cover. It's there's some pictures on Facebook. It's pretty cool. So let's see what else. Speaking of books, I got offered a book deal today. Which I haven't really
Congratulations.
talked about it. It's they only offered $10,000, which is not a lot of money. So when I get the contracts, I'll find out if it's $10,000 advance to continue to write more books or whatever. Because I'm not giving up my series for $10,000 because that's nothing. So we're not doing that. But
How many books do you have out?
3.
3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So $10,000 is nothing. $10,000 is a good signing bonus to work with the company and get more money for after that, but not just for a one-time deal. We're not doing that because I already have season 1 written for the vampire novel, so we're not doing that. But we'll see how that goes. Also, not continuing to toot my horn. We have a personal chef business, so if you need desserts, meal preps, anything like that, let me know and inbox me. We'll get that together. Also, I want to congratulate my friends Harold and Mimi on their wedding. They finally got married after 200 or 300 years, and I'm very happy for them. Had a beautiful wedding, so that's awesome. And are you trying to find it? Oh. And what else? There's something else I wanted to say. No, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So, oh, and Jason Hilson had a birthday. He's a regular watching the show. So happy birthday to you, Jason.
And Jason, happy birthday.
Yes.
All the other birthdays that I didn't get a chance to respond to for January and February. So, Capricorns roll into Aquarius and Aquarius rolls into Pisces. So, however many days you feel like you need to celebrate your birthday, please do that, because apparently people do it 30 days at a time, or it's their birthday month. So I feel like if your mom wasn't in labor for a month, you don't get a month to celebrate, but that's just me. A day is good. Don't be obnoxious.
Wow.
All right, so what else? We've had a lot of American icons dying this year so far already. So I made a small list, which actually isn't a small list considering it's only the second week of February. Hank Aaron, Cicely Tyson, Mary Wilson, Larry King, Christopher Plummer, he's from The Sound of Music, that he originally did Sound of Music, Cloris Leachman, Hal Holbrook died, Dustin Diamond, who played Screech in Saved by the Bell, he died.
Stomach cancer.
Yes, and Harry Brandt, which a lot of you may not know, but he was a new socialite teen. He was the it guy. He did all these new looks and stuff. He was Naomi Campbell's godson.
Oh.
He died. So I don't know. I guess it's time. I mean, I know it's not me up to say it's time, but as we're getting older, all these other people are getting older too. So they can't stick around forever. But you definitely will be missed. Cicely Tyson, just an amazing woman. She's done some amazing, amazing things. And I remember being in elementary school and watching Miss Jane Pittman, and I didn't know anything about makeup back then. I just thought, oh my God, she's so old. How is she gonna make it through the movie? As a little kid watching her on the screen, I mean, she looked like she was like 150. I think she died when she was her hundreds. I mean, actually, Jane Pittman. So she did that character really well, and she does any kind of. She adds to whatever, even Tyler Perry movies, which is an easy thing to do, but she did that well too. What? So,
It's an easy thing to do. Oh my God.
no offense to you, Tyler Perry, but speaking of Tyler Perry, I don't really get into his movies, but apparently he's having a movie coming out about a television series. I think it's about male strippers or something, or I forgot what the title is, but I have a source that kind of keeps me updated on that. And I didn't write down what she told me, but she said, oh, you should like the next thing, because I don't like Sisters and, what is it, The Circle or whatever that is, the Round Room or the whatever spinoff from Scandal.
Yes.
Horrible acting. But apparently he has a new thing coming out with a bunch of dudes, so they're all going to be really hot. Because if he can't do anything else, he can grab the fine guys to his movie, so we'll definitely give him credit for that.
Wow.
So, hi, Tyler.
Wow.
All right, so Sex and Candy. I said if you found out what band did that song, then I would give you a free dessert. And so far, I do not have the right answer, so keep looking. Sex and Candy. I smell sex and candy. Yeah. It's a good song.
Well, I won't be having any cake, so.
Well, I haven't made it because nobody's got the song.
Oh.
But I will make, if you get the song, if you tell me who sings that song, I will definitely make you a free dessert. So keep that in mind and spread it.
Of our liking, or?
Yes, of your liking. So.
No, I can't have cake.
So just, it is what it is. Free dessert. They can be kind of expensive, so a free one's a free one. So anyway, sex and candy. I smell sex and candy. That's what our topic is going to be about tonight, and the correlation to that is programmed emotions. Do you guys have any idea what does that mean to you when I say programmed emotions? Because I looked it up, and apparently it's not a thing. I just made it up, so maybe it'll be our thing. But it is a thing. I just don't think people are aware of it. You know, I smell sex and candy because people feel guilty about sex if they do that sometimes, and they feel guilty about eating candy. So I thought that was a good little tie-in to what we're talking about. But you know, the 7 universal emotions are anger, contempt, disgust, fear, joy, sadness, and surprise. So when I say programmed, you know, situations, we get into situations and, you know, you have these automated responses, or almost robotic, of how you're supposed to feel. You know, if someone dies, you're supposed to feel sad. If, you know, you win the lottery, I guess you're supposed to be happy. And there's all these things that you're supposed to feel. And sometimes we make ourselves feel things or pretend that we feel things that we don't actually feel, depending on the situation. And that's what I mean by programmed emotions. We're taught to feel things. We're obligated to feel things. You know, when someone in your family dies, regardless of how close you were to them or if you even like them, you're supposed to feel sad. And I guess people do. But I think that a lot of times people are afraid of their real feelings, and that's what I want to get into tonight. Because I think that people end up happier when they're able to just kind of be themselves and confront how they actually feel. And I say this because I've had some deaths in the family, and my thing is, if I'm not going to love you more just because you died and you're my family member. You know, if we didn't get along when you were alive, I didn't like you when you were alive, you know, that's not going to change that. And I have a hard time hiding that these days. You know, before I could kind of mask it and, you know, put on a little face and walk around, and can't do that much these days. So, what do you guys think?
I programmed from whom? Your parents?
Your parents, your upbringing, your surroundings, you know, feeling like you always have to do the right thing. That's like people that have...
No, we want to do the right thing.
Right. And so your responses are geared towards doing the right thing. Hopefully people won't judge you or get on to you about being whatever. You know, people don't want to come across as being cold or unfeeling, even if that's how you feel. You know, my thing is, if you're not feeling it, you don't have to say it. If you're not in that mode, just acknowledge your feelings on a regular basis. So you're not trying to be something that you're not, or trying to talk yourself into feeling a certain way if you're not feeling it. It's important. That's how you maintain honest communication. Well, I'm going to tell you that I'm feeling something that I'm not, just to spill your feelings. Because in the long run, it doesn't help, because you're going to find out differently anyway.
Correct. So I actually agree with that. I agree with that. I think we are somewhat subliminal programmed to act a certain way, to function a certain way in different environments that someone may choose to put us in, or we may choose to put ourselves in. You know, like, you have to act a certain way when I was in college to join this fraternity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't act this way, then you're not going to get in the fraternity. You know, you have to have this swag to get into this club. But, you know, so we cater ourselves to the situation. Is it all negative? I don't believe so.
No,
I don't believe so. But from a programming aspect, I do believe there is something there. You know, because a lot of people ask, well, Nathan, you just won this, or you're about to go on this vacation. You don't seem too excited. Well, it's 3 months out. I get excited when I'm about to hit the boat.
But you're supposed to be excited.
But I'm supposed to be excited.
Yes.
But what is excited to everybody else? Because I could be excited just because I'm not turning backwards flips.
That goes under the category of supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel a certain way about certain things. There's an automated response that you're supposed to go to when you feel those. So you're going on a vacation, you're going on a ship, so you're supposed to be excited about that from day one. The moment you book that vacation, you're supposed to be just head over heels about it.
Well, I retired from that a long time ago. Seriously, for me, for mental health purposes, I retired from what everybody expects the excitement or sad to be. I removed that a long time ago.
So even in relationships, it's like, are you afraid to be honest because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or you don't want to talking to the Borg over here? Are you because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, you don't want to rock the boat. A lot of people don't want to rock the boat because they're afraid of all kinds of things like.
Well, there's different levels for that though.
Hi, Brandon.
You don't want to have another argument, so you wait. Or, yeah.
So do you wait or you just put it off?
Well, that is waiting, isn't it?
No, waiting means that you're going to address it at some other time.
Yeah.
Well, putting it off is addressing it some other time, right?
Well,
Putting it off means you never address it.
Oh.
When you put something off, that means you consistently push it back. You keep pushing it back until you never address it. That's what.
It all depends. It all depends what you're bothered about. That's just not dealing with, your partners. That's also dealing with work as well.
Everything, yeah. It's interaction
so
in general.
it all depends how severe it is, how heavy is weighing on your shoulders. If the communication was already there and it's not there anymore, what would you do to get it across?
See, that's the thing. It does weigh. Every emotion is a weight if you don't deal with it. If you put it off, if you ignore it, if you pretend like you feel a certain way you don't, all that is a weight that comes out in some other way. We have to deal with, if you pretend, let's say Brian comes home and every night he leaves his shoes on the bed, which is ridiculous, but...
Could you try again?
Siri. So,
Siri said you're right.
so you're not telling him
Mm-hmm.
that it bothers you when he puts his shoes on the bed. You just get the shoes and you move them and put them in the closet wherever they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 nights go by, you're still doing the same thing, but you're not saying anything. A
Mm-hmm.
couple more weeks go by, and by that last time, you don't just move the shoes in the closet, you throw them in the closet, putting a hole in the wall. Because you're so frustrated, but you're afraid to say anything because you don't want to rock the boat. Or you don't want to make him upset. Or you feel like it's so petty in your head that it's not worth talking about. All those things keep us from dealing with emotions honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to get away from.
Mm-hmm.
We can't continue to worry about how the other people feel because our delivery cannot determine how they're going to feel. Their acceptance of it determines how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny. There's a nurse that I work with, and she is the most amazing person. She's so sweet. And one day she said, she's Jamaican, and she said, I don't mean for them to take things the way that I say it. I just say it, and it's up to them how they feel about what I said, because I don't mean any ill intent. However they catch it or they receive it, that's how they feel. Excuse me, and it's so funny when she said that, but she's so right. She is. And it literally is just that matter of fact. Rock that boat, don't hold on to the inside and make you old. It will. You're supposed to communicate on a regular basis.
That would make you old.
He said old.
It starts the aging process.
But
too.
stress, because that's internal stress, and certainly stress can cause the aging process, like any kind of stressful factor. So we definitely want, and even if Jamie being an exception, because he's plugs himself in at night for his emotions or whatever. But for the most part, you want to get away from worrying about what other people feel. We want to we don't want to be an ass about it, but you want to get away from not expressing yourself or not doing what it is that you want to do or saying what you want to say because you're afraid of hurting someone's feelings. That's the point. That's what we want to get away from. Because it does affect in the long run. There's an effect about that. Because you didn't express yourself, the effect is you're going to have further problems down the road.
People love to say we need to communicate, 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 and then when you communicate, it's a problem that you're communicating. So
Right.
don't tell me to communicate with you if when I do it, there's an automatic assumption that there's just something so wrong. Just because you address something, that doesn't mean that it's eating you up inside. That just means that it's something you want addressed. It's not that serious. You cannot say you want people to be honest with you, you want them to communicate with you, you want to know what's going on, and then when people do it, you make everything so personal to where it's like people don't want to do it. And then when they don't do it, then it boils over. Now you want to be like, oh, why didn't you say anything? It's
Right.
because when I say something, you get so damn defensive about everything. It's like, grow up. If you want people to communicate with you, you have to be open to that communication, regardless if it's positive or if it's negative.
But
You
what
can't have
happens
it both
if it's
ways.
the way that you express?
At some point,
concern.
people have to get over that shit. I'm tired of hearing that. I didn't like the way they said it. Okay, we don't. Okay, and does that take away from what this person is trying to express to you?
Right. It's actually
Like, at some point,
a coat of shade.
You can't filter every time somebody says something to you. You can't do that to them. Because just like you don't want to be filtered in how you convey things, if it's your true feeling about how you feel about something in a situation, we all have emotions that all impacts how we sound when we convey something, what have you. If you are caught up on how somebody said something instead of what they said and the reason why they said it, then you are choosing to harp on that. That's just my opinion. If we're having an honest discussion about something and you choose to focus on my tone, even after I told you why my tone was the way that it was, and you just want to stick to tone and never address the substance of what I said to you, then you don't want to hear anything I have to say regardless of my tone.
Well,
You're
Okay,
using
but-
that as an excuse not to listen at that
But
point.
so is the disclaimer already there before you started?
It don't have to be a disclaimer or not. If we want to discuss how my tone is the way that it is, then we can do that. But if you totally discount what I have to say because of my tone, as if, my tone is just unwarranted or it's just unnecessary, that's your personal opinion, but I'm expressing to you how I feel. So you can't tell me to say how I feel and then tell me you need to control how you say how you
Right.
feel. That's control.
that's
You're
a
trying to
threat.
control the
But
situation.
I believe you
Right.
still need to have some kind of self-control within yourself, because if something's weighing heavy on your shoulders and you want to express that, right? The way you come at the person could trigger another reaction.
Well, if it's weighing on your shoulders, and it was it should have been communicated.
The reason why it's weighing on your shoulders.
Not necessarily, because it could happen with the improper event. Like,
So if you came in and said, okay, so don't put your fucking shoes on the bed anymore. He may not
Well,
like the
it's
way
the
you
way
said
you
it.
say it,
Right,
too.
okay, that's true. So you say it like that, he might get his feelings hurt a little bit, but the bigger picture is, why are you putting your shoes on the bed to begin with?
Right.
But you didn't ask that first. You said, what did you say first?
That's the conversation that's been had already.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it continued to happen.
Okay, so
So when it comes out in a
Yeah,
nasty
we're talking
way,
about how people put off expressing themselves because they don't feel okay with saying something. We aren't talking about the first time something happens, you go off on somebody. We're
Right.
talking about after something's been building, then you finally say something. The way it comes out is not going to be necessarily the perfect way to say something because it's been something you've not said on purpose because you didn't want any pushback for it. Because you already feel like if you say something, it's going to be a problem to begin with. Because everything's a problem with people a lot of times. Like, you can't say anything. You can't say anything in a monotone tone.
Right.
You can't say it in a nice tone because people say, oh, you being nice nasty. You can't say it in front. Like, I deal with this all the time.
Right.
I could literally just be talking in my normal tone and people are like, oh, you just upset. I'm like, I'm literally perfectly fine.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with me. And because I'm not, oh, hey, because I'm not this, happy, jovial person all the time, it's a problem. And I didn't say anything crazy. I'll literally be at work and I'll tell somebody, hey, you need to go to break. Oh, you got attitude. I'm just telling you need to go to break. You aren't paying attention. Your break was 10 minutes ago. I'm telling you need to go to break. Like, who has the issue here? Because it's obviously you.
Brandon says
Like,
about
everything
compassion.
doesn't have to be so touchy-feely. Like, people like that, I can't be around people like that. Everything is just, I can't be around you because something's wrong with you. I'm sorry. You can't micromanage how people express themselves all day long
Right.
and then wonder why nobody says anything to you when they want to say it. People don't like that. Even me, I try not to read more into what people are saying than what they are actually saying. Because people have emotions. We're human beings. We're going to say things in tones and ways that aren't perfect all the time. But if you're actually listening to what somebody has to say to you, you can filter that out if you choose to. And a lot of people just choose not to because they don't want to actually deal with what's being said.
As I said, deal with the core. Take all the dramatics out of the situation. Whatever's left over is what you have to deal with. And I find myself, Brandon's talking about compassion without compassion is brutality, and I just don't feel like every situation requires kids' gloves. We're adults. Just say what you need to say, and let's move past it.
Well,
As time moves on, I feel less like
I just don't have time to be doing all that.
Be flying around the airport. Let's just get to the issue. Otherwise, give me the script that you want me to go by,
Right, like,
and I'll just read it.
Don't
But
tell me
everybody is not capable of seeing eye to eye like you see eye to eye. I do believe you have to come at people in different ways, depending on the format.
Well, I mean,
Like,
if
a
you
lot
have
of
a death in the
people-
family, I'm not going to say like, "How's your family?" Like they did in Purple Rain.
Yeah.
I don't do that. But there's situationally, it requires certain things, but on a regular basis,
That's a different
just everyday
situation
conversation,
as well.
just regular
That's
conversation.
a different situation as
Right.
well.
If it's just regular
In the
conversation,
context of
and
this- this
that friend
conversation.
just sitting on the end of the couch
Yeah,
is
we're not saying
very
just
sensitive about
Right.
everything, then yes, right? But if you have some functional,
If it's obvious that
friends.
somebody's had a bad day at work and they come home, you don't want to be too direct with people. Obviously, you take things into context. If we're talking, what we were talking about.
okay. So with that being said, how do you know the person at work is not in their feelings at work or dealing with something in the way your tone was? Not saying that you're right or wrong. You may say, "Oh, you got an attitude." I don't have an attitude. You think I have an attitude just because you're in your feelings. But what happens if they do not communicate those feelings with you? Matter of fact, do you even really need to know about what they're going through or what could have happened before they got to work, or why their mind is on something else instead of 10 minutes ago they didn't go on break? Because I have not met one person that doesn't really want to go on their break.
But that's still on them though.
That's still on them,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying we should read their minds, but that being said, you can't go and blame somebody, "Oh, you just can't take the way I'm talking to you." It could have
Yeah,
been
because a
something
lot
that
of times
happened
people
previously.
are just very sensitive for no damn reason. I'm sorry.
But
Like,
that's how everybody is.
no, it's not how
Well,
everybody
okay,
is.
so the purpose is to learn how to deal with real feelings.
Yeah, it's,
To learn how to deal with communication without all the extra. Because when you continue to throw all the extra in there, you rarely get to the point.
right. It's just like for example, I've been working at my job at that particular location for almost 6 years. I have had all different kinds of managers. I've had very direct managers. I've had very friendly managers. I've had managers that don't speak to you and they do their job all day and they barely talk. I've had managers that will crack jokes with you. They say things in certain tones. Once you learn how people are, it is up to you to make every teeny tiny little thing somebody says or does a problem. That is up to you.
But everybody
You work
doesn't
with
have
different
that gift.
people. It's not about a gift. It's not about a gift. In my opinion, people who think like that everybody has to speak to them the way they want to be spoken to, they have a control issue, in my opinion. You can't force other people to talk to you a certain way. Now, it's up to you to determine what kind of people you want in your orbit. If you don't feel like them talking to you is proper enough for you, then it is up to you to continue to have a conversation or a relationship with that person. But you can't continuously control how people emote and speak. Like, you just can't do that.
Right.
Because if
And
it's a
that-
constant
and that
problem,
control how
then you
people
need to
speak
get
to
rid
you,
of that
no.
But
person.
it also should not, the way other people, well, I'm talking about strength building here. I'm not like coming down on anybody, but it's strength building because the way someone talks to you should not just ruin your day. You should be
That's
strong
how-
enough to go through and discern through all that and not have it ruin your day.
That's how we should look at it.
That's what we want to learn how to do. It's not
Yes.
like we're perfect at it all the time because I don't, I try not to lose my temper. Even in conversation, I'm not going to scream or yell or anything like that. I just don't do that.
Mhm.
You know, if someone says something out of the way, I might redirect them. I might say, I get what you're saying. You probably didn't mean to say it the way that you said it, but let's talk about this first.
Mhm.
You know, and then if I need to continue with the other side of that, then we can deal with that. But it all depends on how important that person is in my life.
Okay, so my question then to you is, you have the tools to do this, right?
Right.
And the strength building tools, the interaction. How many people don't have these tools?
That's why we're doing this, to help people
You
understand.
know, so
to get
that's
those
what I'm
tools,
saying.
yeah.
It's like you got to think about that as well.
Yes,
Because
you
see,
do.
basketball coaches go through that all the time, and I know sports. I know
I play
but
football. I know how they are.
it is a screaming situation sometimes, and you do have kids that can take it, that cannot take it. Now, I'm screaming at 4 players, right, in a positive, constructive way. I scream at the 5th player in a positive, constructive way. He shuts down. It's not oh well.
Are we talking about kids or are we talking about adults?
It happens to adults too.
Right. So that's a purpose. You
So-
have to learn as an adult.
It's oh well. You
You
know
have
why
to
it's
learn
oh
how to get
well?
past
You
that.
know why I say oh well? Because you aren't being treated any differently than anybody else, and you're the one who's deciding to be an emotional person in that moment.
But everybody emotional.
I don't care.
emotional
Honestly,
background is
You're
I don't
right. You're absolutely
I
right.
don't
You're
care.
absolutely right.
But what I'm
Everybody's
saying
emotional baggage
is if
different.
I've played sports myself, I've played football, I've had football practices where the coaches speak to everybody in the same way. And if you're that one person that just has to get in your feelings as if you're just being treated so differently, that is on you. It's 30 people out here practicing, and it's 3 of y'all that want to get in y'all feelings. That's y'all fault. That is y'all personal problem.
At some point,
I'm not
you have
dealing
to
with
look
that.
around
I'm
and say
sorry.
what's going
I'm
on.
not treating you any
And at some
differently.
point,
Indeed,
you have to
I
look
agree with
around
that.
and see what situations
I'm
that
not-
you continue to get into, how you continue to get your feelings hurt, how could you continue to not speak up because you're just in so much pain because of the way people continue to talk to you. You have to get past that. We all have to get past that.
But
we
it
have
takes-
to start. It takes practice.
Yeah,
Yes.
it takes
But
practice.
if it's not brought to your attention,
But
you're
why
never gonna
are
work on it.
why are we downing the people that has? That's what I said. The tools.
not downing, encouraging.
We're not
Well-
downing them. We're saying they need to get it together. I'm
No,
sorry.
that is. a
That's
little
not-
downing.
no, it's
Instead
not.
of giving proper
No, it's
tools.
not. The
to
proper
do it.
tool is that you need to realize that you aren't in that particular situation. You are not being treated any differently than anybody else out here, but you are the one choosing to act as though you're being treated differently. Like I said, if there are 30 players and the coach is chewing everybody's ass out, and you're the only one that's like, I don't like how he talked to me, and everybody else here understands that this is a constructive space and he's doing it for a purpose, and you're at football practice and he's doing this to get something out of you, and you're the one that wants to say, I don't like how he talking to me, well then fucking quit. I'm tired. I can't.
I don't
I
quite.
can't.
I hear what you're saying. I don't quite agree with that.
That's just
because their responses are not based on how the rest of the team feels. Their responses are based on how they feel personally. And personally, if you feel like the coach is talking to you, or if you're taking it in an offensive manner, that's something you need to look at in order to go.
That's your personal problem. That's my point.
Right, but it doesn't
That's
have
not the
anything to do with it.
coach's.
It
That's
doesn't
not
have
the
anything to
coach's
do with
job
the
to
way
sit
other
there and
people
have a
feel.
therapy session with you every football practice because you upset at the way he's talking to everybody.
Right,
That's
so you
something
look into
you
your-
got to deal with,
You
not
look into
him.
yourself and figure out why you continue to allow these things to get to you.
That's what
Because
I'm
I've been in
saying.
sessions with people that just hold on
To
to the
everything.
gum
Like
until it
Jesus.
just changes properties. It's no longer gum. It goes from gum to sponge to licorice to whatever. They just keep chewing and chewing and chewing, and nothing gets in. You know, there's this expression. There's a hole. It's actually a book too. It's called "There's a Hole in My Sidewalk." And the idea is to figure out what to do with that hole that's in your sidewalk. If you walk around it, the hole's still going to be there. If you jump over it, the hole's still going to be there. So what can you do personally to fill that hole so you can just continue on your path?
But okay, my point is this: what are you doing, Jamie, to mentor, teach, educate these people that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Not a
No
damn
answer.
thing. Nothing. That's
So
not my
then
job.
you have no ground. You really
Yes,
have
I
no
do.
ground to stand on.
Yes,
that.
I do. You asked my opinion about how I felt about the topic, and I gave it.
He does. He's perfectly fine on his ground if that's what he wants to do.
That's
And that's the purpose I'm making. Everybody individually has to own their own feelings.
That's my
And
point.
if you're constantly getting your feelings hurt, you have to look into why
You
that's
gotta,
happening.
you gotta figure
If
that
every
out.
time
But
someone
some
says
people
it-
don't know how to do that.
Well, that's
Well,
what.
you gotta figure out
But they're
how
not
to.
ever going to know if they don't look into it. They're not ever going to know until
But
they
how do they
recognize
know
it.
they have a problem?
Because you tell them. You let them know.
But Jamie's not telling them. He
He
said
doesn't
he's
have
not
to.
going to educate.
He doesn't have to. It's not his job to do that. But
I
if
said,
he had someone,
I
if,
said,
if Hurricane was doing all the time, I guarantee you he would put him in check
I
and
said,
let him know. Hey, look, every time this comes up, this is what happens.
Yes.
Why are you going to continuously get upset about this thing that we've already talked about?
correct.
Why do you continuously get
You're
upset
talking
every
about
time?
in
we
an
say it?
established relationship already.
It doesn't matter. It's the people that you interact with
Right.
the most, or
What?
people that you brush up against. You know, people that you work with. You know, you're not responsible how they feel. Of course, you have a certain way that you have to express yourself because you're at work. You can't come across in a particular manner because you know there's rules and regulations against that. I'm not saying you just want to be a
No, you
complete
don't just
ass
go
to
around being an
people.
asshole. No, nobody's.
No, but you don't. You
advocating
should
for that.
not have to put on these ultimate kid gloves every time you speak to this person.
No.
Every single time, because no matter what you say or how you say it, they get their feelings hurt.
For example, like I said, with the break situation, there are people that I work with who habitually don't go to break on time.
Does it
And
affect you?
No, it doesn't affect me. It affects the entire store because if you don't go to break on time, the other person who's waiting on you, they can't go home on time.
So whose
They
job
don't go
is
break
to
on
address
time.
that?
It's my job to address it.
Okay. Did
But-
you put everybody in a room to
but
address it?
It don't take all that. If we've already told you, hey, we noticed you haven't been going to break on time, and we've addressed this several times. When I say it to you in a little sterner way, and I'm like, hey, we've already discussed that you don't go to break on time. Like we told you to make sure you're paying attention to the time and you go to break on time. We have this happen with a lot of minors. Even though we are floor supervisors, sometimes we're all over the store. We can't make sure every single person goes to break, but you need to be cognizant of time, and you need to make sure you go to break on time. Otherwise, we will get fined thousands of dollars because you are a minor. You need to go to break on time.
So
If I, after 4 times addressing this, get a little stern with you, or my tone is a little off-putting, it's because I've addressed it already, and you have refused
Okay,
to do
did you document
what's
it?
been addressed. That doesn't matter.
no.
That does not
It
matter.
does matter.
No, it doesn't. If you've been addressed
If you
4
want a
times,
job,
if that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking
but
about
you're leading into
documentation.
that, though.
But no, I'm not. What I'm saying is, if somebody's addressed something with you several times and they get stern with you because you continuously don't do what they've addressed, me writing it down has nothing to do with my tone.
But in your job
and your
setting, it
response
does.
No, it doesn't. Not really. It doesn't.
Well, the thing is, and I
Yeah,
know
it
what you're
does.
saying, it's not. We're not talking about paper trails. And stuff
We're
like
not
that.
talking about paper trails. We're
just
talking
talking
about
about because-
interpersonal reaction,
If you're supposed-
interaction.
if you're supposed to take your break at 1, and I take my break
No,
at
I get
1:30,
it.
I get it. So if I come to you and say,
I
look,
get it.
take your break on time.
And you gotta be like, take your break on time, Ken. But that's all you get. I need to know why you're not going on time.
I don't care why you.
No. I need to know because that's how you build the relationship.
No.
I'm not in this just to say 1, 2, 3 and it's over.
So what-
I'm in this about building the relationship responsibly.
Right, so you see the
Boyfriend,
person-
girlfriend, whatever. Tell me a reason why you keep putting the shoes on the bed. I really want to know. Because what I'm doing is I'm challenging the person. I'm trying to build that relationship if I care about that person enough. Now, mind you, there are people at work that obviously, I don't care what they do at 5:30. But between the hours of 8 and 5:30, since I am manager, it is my responsibility to educate them, to mentor them, and that's why I'm here.
So
I'm not about this whole let's do it one time and I don't care if you take my anger or not. I coached basketball for 10 years. I talk to the same kid every single time. If a parent comes in, I don't like the way you're talking to my kid. Okay, so let's talk about it. What points do you not like? What is it? I want to know because it could be a growing and an education for me.
Okay, so
You giving up on people, so don't go take your break for a time.
No, that's not what I said.
You know?
I said if something's been addressed 4 times, this literally happens at my job. We
I
have
believe
people-
it. It happens
Alright
at my
then.
job too.
So if we address something 4 times and we bring you in the office and we tell you, hey, we noticed you aren't going to break on time. You're a minor. You have to go to break on time. They say, okay, I understand. It keeps happening. If a manager gets stern with that person the 5th time it happens after it's been addressed to 4 times, I don't want to hear, I don't like the way you said that to me after we've addressed you 4 times on the same
But
subject.
why are they saying that?
What do you mean? Why are they saying?
You don't get my point. You do it 4 times, right? The 4th time you come, you a little bit stern in your voice, right?
Yes, because
They said, I don't like the way you talking to me, right? They say that, right? Did you ask them, what did I do to offend you? What did I say?
I didn't do anything to offend you. That's the problem.
No, you don't know that because you're trying to speak for somebody else.
If you're offended,
No, don't talk about other people's emotions and you know what they're thinking, Jamie, because you don't.
That's
Bro, you don't. You don't know, dude. You don't know what other people are thinking about. You don't know what shit's going on in their mind.
That's the problem.
That's not.
But what are you doing to mentor? You sit here and talk about what you don't like, what you do want. What are you doing to educate these people, bro?
I've addressed it 4 times already. I've addressed it 4 times already. How many times do you have to address one thing?
Then why you in the road, bro? Give it up.
Why would I give up my job because I've addressed you 4 times and
But you don't
failed
want
to do
to
what I've
build the
addressed?
relationship,
I don't
bro.
have to, Nathan. I don't have to.
Okay, y'all are
I don't have to.
Y'all are
If
on
somebody
a whole
says
different
something
track.
to you 5 times already and you consistently don't do what they ask, it is not my responsibility to baby you like a child in the
Nobody
workplace.
said you gotta bathe them.
So
bro.
what else am I to say to this person?
Hello.
I don't know, though.
What else am I to say?
I
If
just
I've
don't
already
understand
said,
why you
okay,
telling a 44-year-old like you don't know about building relationships and stuff.
I
And
didn't
I
say
grew
I
up in
didn't
a
know.
totally different environment than you, and you don't know what about you don't have emotional intelligence, bro.
He didn't say that.
I do have emotional intelligence. I've been at my job for 8 years.
Y'all are on.
It's not about how long you've been in the job. You're talking about tools and building up to the respect of others. I'm not saying I'm a pushover like, why you didn't take your break? I don't like the way you talk. Do you want to talk about it? Why do you don't like my tone? What part of my tone? Well,
that's the thing. Let me say something. Okay, so this is silly, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at you, playing on your phone, doing this and doing that. You're supposed to be a break at 1 o'clock.
Exactly.
It's now 1:10.
Exactly.
I saw you for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
You're playing on your phone. This happened
Exactly.
3 or 4 times.
That's
Exactly.
legitimate.
This is what we're talking about.
This is
Nothing
what we're
wrong
talking
with it.
about.
That's not what you said.
That is what I said. I've said I've addressed this issue several times before and made it clear to you that you have to go to break on time because you are a minor. We get fined $10,000 per minor infraction if a minor goes to break minutes
Yes.
past the time they are supposed to go to
Kids do
break.
require micromanaging, so yeah, we get that. Kids do require micromanaging if that's what needs to happen. Certainly they do because their attention span is very small. But we're not necessarily talking about kids. We're talking about owning your own emotion, owning your reception of the way people talk to you, the way you respond to that. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about, and I understand what you're saying, but we're not trying to make a workshop on helping people express themselves. People have to start taking responsibility because otherwise it turns into manipulative behavior. If you are so afraid that you're going to hurt somebody's feelings, they're going to play on that because you're going to continue to tiptoe around them and they're going to continue to get their way. Nothing's going to change. So at some point you have to be able to express yourself and let them own their own feelings.
Right.
Let them own the way they feel about it. And it's
Okay.
not.
If
that's what
you
I'm saying.
can't say what you have to say, and I can't say what
Okay.
I have to say in the way I want to say it, and then we have a conversation after that, I can't deal with you.
Then why do you get?
If you come out and
You're
you
right.
say you want to have a conversation about it,
You're right.
because if you feel like you need to have a conversation about it, then you have to be because me saying something direct the first
right.
time didn't work.
Right.
So what in our next conversation we dig a little bit deeper. How is it going to go?
Yeah.
Because my
Okay.
tone is not going to change. I'm going to help you understand what I'm saying,
Correct.
but I'm going to discuss it with you in a manner that I'm not responsible for how you feel
Correct.
about it.
One thing
And
about
that's the
me.
thing. We're not really responsible, depending on the situation. We're not really responsible for how other people feel when you're talking to them.
One thing
You don't want
about
to
me.
just be a jackass
One
for
thing
no
about
reason.
me
But
is
certainly
if
you
I,
want to understand.
if I ask you to express yourself, I literally mean I want you to tell me how you feel, and it is up to me to filter that and respond however I want to respond. I am not in the business of filtering how people speak to me. Now, the times that I have been spoken to in ways that I don't like, I address it. But I'm never going to tell somebody, you can address how people talk to you, but we're talking about people who make everything a problem. That's what I'm saying. Like, even the slightest bit of tonal change is a problem for you. Everything's a problem. if I'm telling somebody to tell me how they feel, then I expect for that person to possibly not say it the way I would want to be talked to in that situation. That's all that I'm saying.
Right.
Like there have been situations that I have been in
You're right.
where somebody
You're right. You're right.
Somebody went off
Can
on
we move
me.
on to the sex thing?
Somebody went off on me, and they said what they said because they felt about the situation, how they felt about the situation. And after listening to them, I said, okay, I can understand why you said what you said the way you said it. I didn't appreciate how you said it. That's not how I would have wanted you to address me. But after listening to why you said what you said in the way that you said it, I understand.
Right.
I think that is.
I understand.
I think that's how a constructive
Most
conversation
people do not
happens.
know to grab that education inside themselves to do that.
Right, but also if every time that happens to them, they just get so flustered by it that they never have the conversation. They'll never learn to develop.
And you also have to look at their age too.
They'll
Like,
never
we're gonna say-
learn to develop.
That's what I was
Look at their
saying.
age.
What did
Right.
you just say?
They'll never learn to develop it. But telling people to kind of baby them and not
No, I'm not
say
saying
things the way
baby
they
them.
want
I'm
to
saying
say
do
it.
exactly what you just did, because I just said a lot of people don't know to do that. You said, what did you just say again?
What?
What did your last sentence? What was it?
I said if people don't allow those situations to, pretty much I was saying, if people don't allow those situations to unfold and those conversations to unfold.
The conversations.
Yes.
To unfold.
Yes.
That means mentoring, educating them.
Nobody's against that.
No, the thing
Nobody's-
is,
That's what I've been talking about.
Yeah, but nobody's been against that.
but the thing, we're not talking about just those. We're not talking about those mentoring situations because clearly, I mean, I work at a job where I give people information, and so do you. That's what we do for work. But on a personal level, when we interact with friends and stuff, we're not pulling our friends aside and holding some workshop to teach them.
No,
how to do
not
stuff.
that. We're
That's
talking
what I'm
about
saying.
his job.
Right,
That's what
but
I was talking about.
What I was trying to get to was like where we went too deep in his job. He was talking on the surface. That's what I was trying to
I'm
get.
talking about the job.
Right,
I'm
we're not talking
now,
about-
friends.
yeah,
I don't
we're
give a
not-
fuck.
we're
I'm
not-
not going to lie about it because I don't like people anyway.
So we're not talking.
It does nothing for me.
We're
I
not talking
mean,
about
shit.
job and regulations and paper trails and stuff like that. That's not what we're talking about. That's what I was trying away from. But having you whooping some.
but
The thing is, the idea is for people to take responsibility for their own emotions. For people to stop being manipulative and stop playing these little games to keep people from saying what they need to say.
Right.
And it's our job as an individual to not be so concerned about how they're going to respond when something needs to be said.
Yeah.
That's how you go on with your. That's how adults do things.
That's how adults
Depending
act.
on the age of the
Yeah,
person that you're
right.
working with, when you're teenagers, you have a different thing going on. It's a great argument depending on how old, but like with our age, you shouldn't have to have these issues.
No, you shouldn't. Like I don't.
Because
No, I'm not about to be
No.
holding your hand
Right.
every time you have a
Alright,
conversation.
I think
I'm just not gonna do
everybody
it.
in here.
But there's a manipulative factor that comes in communication, and people that are constantly, they know how, if they know they're wrong, trust me when I tell you,
Oh, I know.
they know already how they're going to respond to
Absolutely.
the conversation.
Absolutely.
I
And
know,
if you fall
I know
for it,
that, and
They're
I'm
gonna
usually
make
2 steps
everything
in front of them.
sensational.
Right. So if you fall for it, that's on you, and that's what I'm
Time for
saying.
that.
We have to stop worrying about how people feel about their bullshit, because they know what it is.
Period.
And it is. It's just that simple. We talk about, the programmed emotions, and when certain things happen, you have an automatic response which you go to. I'm saying be strong enough to feel exactly how you feel.
And to express that without the fear of pushback.
I had, hopefully nobody in my family's really watching, but I had an uncle that died earlier last year. He wasn't very nice to me. And I didn't really feel anything when it happened. It was just, oh God. This is up here. I didn't really feel anything when it happened, but I managed to muster up enough feeling because so many of my family members were concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But inside, I didn't feel anything. Like, I felt a little sorrow because they
Because
were
it's your
feeling it.
family.
No, because they felt it.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Because
okay,
your
no,
family was
right.
mourning.
No,
So
I
you
get
didn't-
that.
I
you
didn't
didn't personally
my
feel anything.
grandfather that just passed away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right, but like in a couple of years ago, I may have talked myself into feeling something or being
Right.
a little bit more emotional about the feeling.
Right.
I did that a while ago. I don't do that anymore. So that's part of the encouragement of people feeling how they feel. You know, it's okay that you're not jumping up and down because you lost someone, or you're not, you know, running around screaming because you're on a vacation, or you're not heartbroken because you broke up with somebody. Acknowledge your real feelings. Take all the dramatics out of the situation. Whatever is left over is what you deal with.
Take
I
the
mean,
dramatics
all of
out,
it.
take the dramatics out of the situation.
And that's what we start. That's what we
That's
have
what
to
I
start dealing
advocate
with.
for. That's what I advocate for. Like I can't after it's so much drama in the situation that you can't even have a conversation. It's pointless. That's all that I'm saying. Like there have been times where situations have happened, and a lot of times when people have those emotional ass conversations, the first couple of times about a situation, they don't get anywhere because they're still hanging on to their goddamn emotions. And then once everybody calms the fuck down and they actually have a conversation with a clear head, then normally conversations go a lot better. But if you choose to stick to your emotions just because you choose to stick to your emotions, then if a conversation doesn't go anywhere, that is your fault at that point. That's just my opinion. I don't have an issue with people being in their feelings for a little bit, but if you want to stay in your feelings just for the sake of staying there and nothing gets accomplished,
Right.
I don't want to keep doing this with you. I'm not an emotional person. I'm just not. So people who are overly emotional, I can barely take them anyway because that's just not the kind of person I am. And I think a lot of times, people like me, we constantly get told that we just don't have any emotion. Everybody is not like you. We aren't compatible. I get it. So don't expect for me to be something that I'm not. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say, I guess, to an extent.
I'm
Like, you
probably
can't-
the most unique person in this
You can't
room.
be upset
Trust
with me
I'm
because I'm not.
INFJ, for real.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody in this room is
The
one.
what?
INFJ.
What is
This
that?
is a fair personality trait.
Well, I've seen those little letters.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at
So
the
I
screen
get
without
what
my
you're
glasses,
talking
and I
about.
have two Brandon Eugene and Brandon Powell's on there. I was thinking before I put my glasses on, I was like, Brandon's saying a whole lot. It's both of them. Brandon Powell, thank you for joining in your comments. It's been very cool because he's actually a therapist. So it's kind of funny the things that he's saying because I mean it's so true.
I don't even know what he's saying.
The main thing was the argument is valid, but if the example is geared towards 16-year-olds, you can't go by the same standard you would with a 30-year-old or something.
That's what I'm saying.
And
And the only reason Jay not brought that up, and mind you, I'm not in my feelings because, you know, I'm old enough not to go there because, you know, I don't like people anyway. But anyway,
so that screaming
you
that you were
said,
doing in my ear, what was that?
well,
That screaming you were doing in my ear?
well, that's intensity. That's passion.
It's passionate.
That's how I am in basketball.
I will also-
that right there
I will
is
also-
passion.
I will
This
also-
is how I talk.
Yes!
That's
Yes!
what it is. You can imagine. You can imagine what sex is.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God, that's what I'm talking
Yes!
about. You better say
Yes!
something.
I will
Cheers
also,
to that.
I will
Cheers
also,
to that.
I will also say this: that somebody is 16-year-old excuse. That shit is old too. I don't
But there
believe in
could
that
be
bullshit.
16-year-olds.
I don't believe in that bullshit. I don't
No,
believe in it.
actually,
I don't
do.
believe in it. I don't.
I do.
And you know why? Because we let teenagers get away with a lot of
No,
bullshit because they're gonna
no,
say they're teens. They're
no,
teens, so
son.
you can't hold them to a standard because they're
Yeah,
teens.
no,
These teenagers know what the fuck they're doing
No,
and when they're
no,
doing it and
yeah,
how they're
yeah.
doing it.
Stop,
I don't
stop.
want to hear
They
it. I
actually
don't want to hear it.
don't.
Yes,
They
they
actually
do.
don't,
They
because
do.
The thing is,
They do.
It seems that way on the
They
front.
do.
Listen,
They do.
listen, child. Listen.
You've been a teenager yourself, and you know what I'm saying is
But
true.
the
You knew
thing-
what you were doing
Can
when
I
you were
finish?
doing it. Okay. I
The
don't.
thing is, on the front end, it seems that way.
No, they
But
don't.
I tell people all the time that you think that a teenager is mature and grown because they do those things, but how they handle stuff shows that they're still a child, and that's when it comes out. And I've seen that a lot.
You got grown people who still do this. You have people who are 45 that still
but
do
that's
this.
not-
That has
but
nothing to do with
But
anything.
it does, because they're not 16.
No, it
A
doesn't.
45-year-old acting like a 16 is a mental issue. A 16-year-old being a 16-year-old is just that. You
Yeah.
cannot treat them the
I
same
don't
way.
believe- I
And
don't
see,
believe
that's
in
what
that.
I was talking about.
I don't
You
believe in
said
that. I haven't
the
been
minimum.
afforded that privilege to just say I'm a 16-year-old, therefore I can act like an asshole.
No,
I'm
no, it's
16.
not that.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, can I ask you a question,
Can you jump
Jamie?
into the gray area a little bit?
Jamie, can
Jump
I
in
ask
the
you a
gray area.
question? Not to cut you off. Can I ask you a question, Jamie, in all seriousness, bro?
Sure.
Are your parents still together?
No.
They're not?
No.
So did you grow up in one household, another
I
household?
grew up in both.
You grew up in
I
both
grew up living with my mother. I grew up living with my father at different times in my life.
at different times in your life.
Uh huh.
When did you feel like you became what you call mature?
At a very, very young age.
You
I've always
feel
been very mature.
you feel that in your body and your soul, right?
Yes.
Now, don't take this the wrong way. Who are you to tell somebody that grew up with just a mom or just a dad or in a broken home, and they're maybe 16 years old, and they don't know how to really express their emotions or well-being or anything like that?
Okay, so is the premise in that if you grow up in a
No,
family unit,
that's just
that
an
you don't have
example.
those issues?
That's
The
just an
brain is just
example.
not developed at
Well,
16.
that's the
I mean,
premise.
that's
That
what
was the
Brandon
premise
says.
of
I
your
agree with him.
example.
Because
Your brain is just not developed. You don't have enough information
I
to be
don't
where you need to be at
understand.
16. You could display manipulative behaviors. You could be a total asshole. You should have someone to correct those behaviors so you don't continue that behavior. But you just don't have the development at 16, whether you
don't
feel
have
like
to
you do or not. You absolutely don't.
If I was doing shit at
I mean,
16.
I remember me at 16. There's certain things that when something happened, when something serious happened,
You don't
I
know
was
what the
looking for
fuck
my
to do.
mom.
You
I
know,
didn't know what to,
if I would have got a
yeah.
girl pregnant at 16, do you? Okay, I know what this means. Da 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 da.
We're not talking about that.
No,
But it's
kind of the
it
same
kinda
thing,
is,
bro.
because
No.
the brain developed. You're saying that
We're not
16.
talking
You're
about
but you're
that.
talking about 16-year-olds, being assholes or being old enough to know better, and sometimes they just don't.
I don't believe
They know
that.
to be.
How old
I
are you,
understand
Jamie?
that.
I'm 25.
How old do you think you are spiritually?
I don't know.
No, tell me an age.
I
What do
don't
you
know
think?
because I don't think with age comes wisdom. I don't believe that either.
Then why did you just say a 16-year-old should know then?
Because I don't think it has anything to do with age. I think people
You
can
can't-
use their
no.
brains as early as they can use their brains.
That
I don't
doesn't
believe
make-
in any of that stuff. I just don't.
But I understand that. You
I
believe
love
in every
kids, dude.
statistic in
That's
the
awesome.
world.
It's not even a statistic.
I'm
At
just saying.
12, I knew when I was doing something wrong.
It doesn't. It
At
doesn't.
11, I knew.
It doesn't mean you don't.
You don't
know.
get to excuse your
It
behavior
doesn't
because
mean
you're
you
young.
don't know right from wrong.
That's
It
why-
doesn't
Yeah, that's
mean-
all I'm talking
And it
about.
doesn't mean people are going to choose your behavior. It just means that you don't have all the information that you need to handle situations.
That's not true. That's
It
what
is
I'm
true.
saying. That's not true.
It is true.
It's not true.
Right.
If you go in the
Jamie.
store at 14 and steal, that didn't mean you didn't have the information you needed not to go in the store and
That's
steal.
knowing
You
right,
chose to do
that's
that.
knowing right from wrong. But when you go to jail, you're not going to handle it like a man.
Yes.
You can handle it like a kid. That's what I'm saying. You think you have it together until something major happens. Teenagers handle stuff on the front end,
And a lot of
but at the
teenagers
end of
are
it,
very
the
visual.
consequences and the side effects of a lot of things they do, they're not emotionally stable enough to handle it.
on this show. Because
It's just not.
because you see, Jamie, the reason I'm so passionate is because when you said the minimals, I'm all about the kids. I'm all about the next generation because the first thing that came to my mind is my niece. You know, I see what's going to happen within 2 years with my niece, and she's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Those guys that are first starting in puberty, they're not going to know how to act. Shit, I didn't even know how to act.
You know why? You know what? I'm not trying to cut you off, but you know why I refute this? I've been a mentor to children. I was one for 4 years.
That's fine.
Yeah, but I'm not
That's
saying this
fine.
just to
But
say
you
it.
gotta have a little sensitivity.
I do, but you don't stop holding people accountable because they're
Who
young.
said nobody's holding people
Listen,
accountable?
listen to what I'm saying. I was a peer mentor at an organization for almost 5 years of kids ranging from as early as 7 all the way up to about 17, 18 years old. I was responsible for kids ranging in that age, even in mixed groups, where we taught core values such as honesty, accountability, responsibility. I had a group of kids who were from low-income housing in Savannah, Georgia. When they first got there, they would do all kind of stuff. When they first got there, they would do all kind of stuff. And I would address them, and I would say, look, this is what you did. You understood that what you did was wrong, and now you are being held accountable. At the end of that summer camp, I saw an entirely different kid. And at no point did I stop from being direct with them. I let them know that what they did was wrong and why it was wrong and why they were being treated or disciplined the way that they were being disciplined. And I saw that change in them. So what I'm saying is children are very intelligent, but if you consistently let them have their way because they're children and they just don't know any better, there will be no character development in that child. I don't want to keep hearing
I will see what you're saying and raise
they're
you to
just
this.
young, so just...
I will see what I
They're
hear what you're
just young.
saying, and I will raise
Like-
you to this because I also have worked with children for about 20 years. So when you're in a situation and you have a child, an adolescent, that you're constantly trying to teach all these values to, and you're teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching, they get it. When they leave your presence, they go home to a whole totally different environment. They go home to whatever family dynamics they have, whatever influence they have in the neighborhood, and a lot of times the stuff that they remember for that summer does not stick. It does not stick. So I'm saying the development and the retention is just lower when you're younger. People are trying to find themselves and figure out who they are, trying not to be bullied or intimidated, trying not to get beat up. Whatever's going on in their life distracts them from what's really going on. So if they don't understand, they may know that stealing is wrong. They might be influenced to do it anyway. They know that it's wrong. They know they're going to get in trouble.
But then they still made that decision. That's my point.
But
They still made the decision.
But
at the
they
end of the
can't
day.
handle the consequences. The very end of the story are the things that they cannot handle.
If you make
don't
the
understand. It's
the
not that
choice to
simple.
do certain things, it is on you to handle the
It
consequences.
is not that
That's just
simple.
how I was raised.
I understand that, but at 25, I get that. But when you're actually going through an entire program, entire system of dealing with adolescents from ages 8 to 17, and you watch them grow, you watch
Yeah,
everything that you taught them, and they go back to their natural environment. A lot of times they're getting killed for doing the wrong thing, doing all these things because they have all these different influences. It's not just you on their shoulder anymore.
It's not about
Yeah,
me being on their shoulder. It's not even just about that. I'm simply saying that people make choices every day, and they know what choices they are making.
Jamie, you're not.
I am listening, but at the end of the day, we're accountable for our own actions. I don't want to hear. I grew up in the same kind of environments that all of these other people grew up in, and I made choices the way I made them. And the consequences, I had to deal with them.
Yeah.
You can't go through life constantly saying, well, I had all these factors going on, so it influenced me, and I made a
They're not
terrible
the ones
decision.
that are saying that because they're not aware of it. That's the problem.
They are aware of
They're
it,
not.
though. Yes, they
They
are.
are not.
Yes, they okay.
They are not.
Y'all give people way too much credit. That's all I want to say.
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
Jamie, I'm not giving people too much credit.
Yes, you are. You
No,
really are.
Jamie, no, I'm not. I'm not giving people too much credit. I'm going to tell you why I'm giving you what I'm giving you. And if you open up your ears, I will
I've
glad
been
to
listening
let
to this
you know.
whole entire conversation.
So what I'm giving you is what a family that grew up in Paducah, Kentucky, that took in cousins, that took in friends, because of trial and tribulations throughout their life. Mom is working nothing but Citizens Bank. Dad is working at Tennessee Valley Authority, even in Paducah, Kentucky. Why? Because the way they were living, the age they were in, were nothing but middle school and high school. You're not going to tell me what my mom did for my cousins was not impactful.
I didn't say that.
No. Listen to me now. Please, bro. Listen to me. I did not interrupt you.
I'm not
bro.
about to have that be said as if I said
Oh,
that.
I'm saying it.
I'm not saying
this
I
is
didn't
what
say
you're
that.
saying.
I didn't say that. So
Yeah.
it won't be insinuated that I said it. That's
Okay,
all that I'm
so
saying.
Let me just introduce.
I'm not about to.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on because
I didn't say that.
when you speak with kids, bro,
We're not trying to be right.
I don't have nothing for that.
We're trying to give information.
I don't have nothing for that.
Nobody said that.
Everybody has their point of view, so we all have different experiences. So everybody's right in their own mind. So let's just move on.
Yeah, because he's right. I mean, I give it up.
I didn't even say I was right. I simply
give it up.
gave my
I give it
perspective
up.
about
No,
the
dude,
situation.
And granted, being tried as an adult is a
We're
legal
cool.
thing. It has nothing to do with
Fucking
them being
Simone,
a child,
we're
not a
cool,
child,
man.
because
I know.
14-year-olds can be tried as adults, and they may, it just we're not talking about the legal aspects of things. We're talking about brain development, understanding when you get into situations, you understand right from wrong. You understand that you should not do this or you should do some things. But I'm saying the lack of adult comes in when you have to handle the absolute total consequence of what you've done.
Yeah, but
That's what I'm saying. You don't have a lot of kids don't have that emotional stability because the first thing they want is your mom or their dad.
right, but
And
then
that's not what you want as an adult.
But in that, I'm not trying to call it a talking point like that. But what I'm saying in that, the premise of your statement is that as an adult, if you got into a certain situation, you would be able to handle it because you're an adult, and that's
You
not
handle it a
necessarily
lot
true.
better.
Either. That's not necessarily true. I think that's a blanket statement. You have adults who are 35, 40, 45, 50, and they still can't handle certain things.
Okay, I'm in mental health, so I see it every day, and I know what you're talking about. So
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, that's a mental health issue. That's a mental health issue.
Not
It
necessarily.
is a mental health issue. If you're an adult and you handle things like a child, or you handle things as a child, well, that's a mental health issue. It absolutely is.
But what I'm saying is the premise of saying that somebody handles something like a child, it almost insinuates
No,
that
I'm
children
saying a child
aren't
handles stuff
capable
like a child.
of handling certain things in a mature manner. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we're giving people
they're not,
blanket.
They're not incapable. They're not incapable, but their development is different.
Okay.
So depending on the situation, I mean, the minor stuff they can probably handle, but depending on the situation, we need to give them more credit. We need to do more teaching, because they need that. They haven't gotten all the information. You don't get all the information that you need to live at 16. It's still a learning process. I mean, you don't get all the information you get by 21. It's still a learning process, and most people don't really reach that until they're in their 30s. You have a lot of growing and learning and information to get. There's situations that people haven't experienced or don't even understand. It's a growing thing. It's not a right or wrong thing. It's just we're constantly getting information to make us better. At 16, you just don't have all the information that you need to handle all situations. You know right from wrong. No and stop that. You know that I shouldn't do that. I got to get up and go to school. I got to make grades for college and everything. But you don't. There's just certain strengths that just aren't there at 16. People are different. Everybody's not the same, of course. But as a whole, I think that people still need at that age to get information, and that's what needs to happen. Hi, Jason. And that's what needs to happen.
Especially, guys, like, Jamie, I hear what you're saying, honestly, bro. Not trying to challenge you, but when it comes to kids, man, or 16 below, 18 below, 18 is the legal adult age here in the United States, right? Over there in London, you can drink beer at 16.
Yeah.
So I see your method to the madness, so to speak, but, there's some things that there's honestly, truly some things that you're just unaware about, that other people have gone through, and the brain has not fully developed yet. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, you don't know what autism is. If you do, I do apologize, but trust me, you don't know what autism is. Trust me, you don't know. So I'm the one that grew up with it. I have it. Nobody knows about it.
I work
Self-confection.
with about 4 people who are autistic.
See, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like,
Confess.
yes, it's hard, bro. I wasn't where everybody was at 16.
Confess.
You know what I'm saying? Confess. I wasn't. I did not know. You talk to my mother. God, I was not even supposed to be. Huh?
You Asperger?
Huh?
Asperger?
My mother?
Are you Asperger?
No. What's that?
High functioning autism.
Oh, that? Yeah.
He's asking you if you're on the autistic spectrum. That's
Oh,
what he's asking.
that. Well.
Okay,
that's my
we
mom.
weren't even. We're talking about sex and candy, so we really weren't even.
I thought we were
kids.
talking about sex.
So I don't know how we got on kids, and we got way off topic, and and it's fine. It's fine.
See, but the thing is, I have been diagnosed with all kind of disorders as a
You're
child.
Asperger for sure.
They got a pill for it.
So it's like I can understand that.
You're
I can
Asperger.
totally
with OCD.
understand it.
Brandon Powell, you should watch it.
Asperger, dude.
Diagnosed these two
Asperger. Asperger. Asperger.
Yes, that's you
Yes.
and him.
No, not him.
I don't know. Like
He's Asperger, but he's got Aspergery tendencies
you,
and OCD.
I have a coworker that I work with to this day, and he did not like me at all, and I did not like him at all when we first met each other. And it wasn't because he had Asperger's, it was because he consistently tried to challenge me for no apparent reason. To this day, me and him are tight.
Adam?
No. No.
Don't say that.
No.
Shit.
No, not Adam.
That's a bad
But
thing.
I had to tell him, I said, no, like, I understand, like, I get it. But you can't do certain things the way you want to do them just because you want to do them. There's a way we do things here, and I don't want to keep hearing, well, I'm autistic. I don't want to keep hearing that.
You have to come
Now,
down
some people
with
can say
different
that's
stories.
harsh, but you can't keep throwing that out as a card to say, well, I don't want to do what you want me to do, so I'm gonna throw up I'm autistic in your face. Like that's not gonna fly with me.
They're using it as a question.
Brandon says that
That's
he
what
has
I'm
a strong
talking
sense
about.
of self, and there's nothing wrong with that. I get it. We
That's
tell
what
him
I'm
that
talking
there's
about.
nothing wrong with him being strong. There's nothing wrong with him having a strong sense of self. He just comes across sometimes as someone that plugs himself in and like
Asperger's.
emotional recharge. Asperger. Because he doesn't see the gray area, and that's why we're always.
No, I do see the gray
You
area.
just don't go in there.
Talk about the fight, says
You avoid it.
The fight.
It's like-
The fight.
Brandon says he had a bad lisp and a stutter, and they had tried to put him on in special ed. During that time, they might have done it.
I had to take
He
a.
has to have a lot of earth in his chart.
I had to take a
Yes.
speech class.
I didn't have any of that. I was cool. I was pretty well rounded. So, whatever. Fuck y'all. I'm just saying. I had like a normal Cosby Show childhood. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. But still, you know, even with having two parents or two working parents, you still have things that you go through. That developmental stage is important. You know, and even having parents as my parents weren't really strict, but they were very firm about things. When they said don't do it, they mean don't do it, and you can't give them any other reason why you did it. Just don't do it. They say don't do it. Don't do it. This is not your house. This is not your room. This is not your car. This is all my shit. When you get ready to dictate on it, then you need to have your own shit. I mean, that's basically how it
I
works.
don't know. I guess just at a very young age, I was taught the concept of choices and consequences.
Of course. But the thing is, and so was I. But when something really traumatic happens, you just don't have that backup factor that you get when you are an adult. Kids don't have that. That's why when you see, like when they show the little shows,
Some of them
you-
don't.
some of I'm not. Do I need to be that specific? Really, with you?
Yes, I would prefer that because I think I'm being misconstrued in this conversation. It's that very fact.
Smack the shit out of
I
him.
shut the fuck up. I didn't say shit.
Not all, but some.
Thank you so much.
Shit, I just
Not
said,
all,
I'm
but
just
some. Didn't we go through this a couple weeks ago with you?
like-
Did you not, let the records indicate that you got pissed off because someone said something that you thought was blanketed across everybody, and that's not how you meant it? So I have to
Because
say that to you.
I never said it in a blanket way. So if it was being conceived as blanket, it was because they chose to do that.
Was this last? 2
Because I
weeks ago
specifically said-
when I was at bereavement.
Yes. Alright, so,
Yes.
Tonight, I'm Kerry Washington. Cheers.
Y'all really drunk a whole bottle of
confess. Shame.
wine.
Confess.
I also have something I want to say before we
I'm Siri
cut this
Lannister.
camera off.
I'm Cersei Lannister.
It'll be quick.
Well, the whole thing, that's what I meant. You know, even we didn't really dive into sex, but that's the thing. We're talking about, like, people that sleep around a lot and feeling guilty about it, or people that have a couple of affairs and feeling guilty about it. We need to, like, honestly stop letting people program how we're supposed to feel about things. We're supposed to we need to practice being honest about our real feelings
Yeah.
and not the program feelings.
Yeah.
We need to be honest about how we feel.
That's all.
If we don't give a shit, we don't give a shit, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So if you go out and have an affair,
And it doesn't bother you, it just doesn't bother you. Period. It just doesn't bother you. You can't talk yourself into it bothering you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Period.
But
And that's
apparently it bothers everybody. Right?
so they say.
Or we wouldn't be talking about it, right?
Although being taught only choices and consequences without acknowledgement or engagement with grace, kindness, empathy, compassion, tolerance, it can make you cold and unyielding. That makes you long-term, deep
No,
connection.
you know why I'm gonna say that's not true?
No room
That
for
is
making
not true.
mistakes and forgiveness.
That is not true. That is not true. Those things are not independent of each other. You can teach people.
He said it can, not definite, not infinity.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't. It can.
You are kind of cold.
No, I'm not cold.
You are cold.
I am not cold.
You come across as cold.
Coming across as something and being it are two different things.
You may not feel cold, but
I am not cold at
you
all.
feel cold to me sometimes.
I'm not cold at
But
all.
okay, let me put it this way. I've taken the time to get to know
I'm
you.
direct.
I've taken the time to get to, I've known this guy for like 300 or 400 years.
I'm
so
direct.
He's different, but
I'm very direct. But anybody who knows me on a personal
but
level for real,
direct and cold are kind of the same thing.
no, they aren't.
They can be, because when you say things, and this is what we want. I like what you do. You say things without thinking about how the person's going to receive it. That's fine. There's
No,
nothing wrong with that.
that's not true either.
You can't have it all kinds of ways. Which is it?
No, that's not true. I consider how somebody's going to react to something. I just choose to still say what I have to say. That's not the same thing, Todd.
So you're a bitch.
No, that's not me being a bitch either. That's just
What are you?
that's not being a bitch. That's not being a bitch. It's just not. If I know what I say to somebody might piss them off,
See,
well.
you guys don't hear. I'm like I'm watching you both, and you guys don't see your reactions and stuff. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh God, how am I going to get us pat over this hump? And you know, you're screaming and you're doing this way. And it's like, it's just funny because we're not right or wrong. We're not trying to be right or wrong.
I don't think so either.
We're trying to encourage people to be real about how they feel.
Yeah.
And be honest about that. Don't just feel something because you feel like you're supposed to. I wrote down, you're taught to feel, you're obligated to feel, you're supposed to feel, afraid of the real feeling. And that's the thing. You want to stop all that. Just feel how you feel. When you're having a communication with someone or a conversation with somebody, address them from how you actually feel. Don't sugarcoat it and don't change it because you don't like the way they're responding, because that's not reality. You're sugarcoating stuff and you're pretending you're feeling something that you don't to appease them. So don't do that anymore. Come from a place.
If I really said something that pissed somebody off,
say it like you mean it. Well, don't not to
if I really said or did something that pissed somebody off, I want them to address me as such, so I can get the whole experience of how they felt, and then we can talk about it.
I get passionate. I really piss me off except for Adam.
I liked it though. That was awesome. I need that on video.
I'll
be watching that later.
I can handle it. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't get caught up in the way people say things to me quite often, unless it's just blatantly unfucking necessary for no absolute reason.
I don't care. I appreciate people's honesty. I really, really do. Because I have learned how to not get emotional. I've gotten it down to art form. You know, I just take all the bullshit out and just deal with what's real. Mm-hmm. If there's something that I don't like, I redirect them. And you know, my first thing is, I'm sure you didn't mean to come at me like that, but let's get to the point. Mm-hmm. You know, when I say stuff like that people don't know how to act.
I'm a very consistent person, Jason. I know you remember that conversation.
He doesn't work now. He doesn't count.
Huh?
I'm just joking.
Oh, yeah.
What did he say? I thought we were reading them out loud.
It's the oh my God, it's a boyfriend conversation again. Jamie said that before. I remember this conversation. Yes, I mean, you know, we are who we are. We're not trying to be more right than anybody else, but you know, it's all about, you know, I realize that even in the field that I'm in, you know, it's not about me trying to keep somebody from jumping off the building. I feel like my job now is to continue to give information for you to use as you will. And it's really just that simple. Taking responsibility for how other people feel and what other people do.
What's that? Why is the hand up emoji?
That's all I've been saying this whole conversation.
What you didn't say as eloquent as I said it.
Oh well, that's fair, but that's what I've been trying to convey.
Well, you stopped flying around the airport and get it done.
I wasn't flying around the airport. I said it how I said it, but that's what I've been saying.
So that's the main thing. We just don't want to be responsible for other people's feelings. We want to express ourselves and give them information and allow them to do with it what they may. And hopefully they'll learn how to start communicating openly and honestly. You guys can have real conversations as opposed to, you know, well, I should have said this because that's what I was taught, or that's how I'm supposed to feel. You know,
or what happens is, the first and second time something is addressed, you don't explicitly say it how you want to say it, and then when you finally say it how you wanted to say it, that's the problem.
Right.
because you watered it down when you first addressed it. Instead of you bringing up everything you wanted to bring up or expressing it the way you wanted to express it, you don't do it because you're trying to water it down because you
Yes.
don't want to rock the boat. Rock the goddamn boat and stabilize it.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby.
I'm sorry.
Tip the boat over. Yes, I mean, seriously.
I'm telling you, people who know me the most, they know. Jamie gonna say it to you how he want to say it to you. I'm not gonna disrespect you. Now, disrespect is something I don't think that you should do someone. That you should engage in. Yeah, but that's different.
That's good. So,
No sex.
right.
Oh well.
That's so, wow, that was nice. So in any event, I guess we're over our time, so we need to go ahead and end this. And thank you, Brandon Eugene and Brandon Powell, for joining us, and Jason. You guys are awesome. Nobody knows who sang the song. Seriously?
They didn't even try to Google it.
Did anybody Google the song? Anybody go to YouTube and try to find the song? Nobody? That's a damn shame.
I don't know who
You
sang
can't even give stuff away for free these days. Brandy, you didn't check again? You had two, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers, really? That was actually a good answer if it wasn't them.
So go Vols.
it. Good luck. Nirvana.
It was not Nirvana. I told you that already.
Nirvana. Who listens to Nirvana?
The song is Sex and Candy.
Who listens to Nirvana?
Oh, Jason, I posted. I said if you figure out who sang Sex and Candy by the end of the show, that I would make a free dessert and send it to you.
Seriously, who listens to Nirvana?
This guy
Seriously.
I love Nirvana.
Who?
Nirvana.
Where are they at?
I mean, I was in a
Highway.
90s band, but they were good. And their music is still comes up. Teen Spirit.
Oh,
It was a
we're
good
playing
song.
y'all bitches tonight.
I was listening to REM today, so
Huh?
I was listening to REM today.
Who?
REM.
Where are they at?
It don't
Highway.
matter. They were on iTunes, so that's where they live. Sex and Candy, Brandon. Oh God, now it's all coming in. It looks like Jason beat you by a hair, Brandon.
So I guess you'll be sending a cake to New York?
I guess so. So inbox me with your info and tell me what you want, Jason, and we'll get it done.
That's a long ride for a cake.
Okay.
They have FedEx has boxes and stuff that you can get for cakes. Just nothing too fancy, but we'll work it out.
They gonna be-
Uh,
they gonna pull it out.
who knows?
Let's go toss it.
See, the idea, I know, to read the post, read the whole post, to get all the information. Yeah, I said happy birthday to you earlier, Jason. I did. I actually mentioned that earlier. So definitely happy birthday to you. It was your 4th birthday?
It was the 4th. It was on the 4th.
Oh, it was
You
the
said
4th.
Yes.
I'm like, is your birthday on a leap year? It was not leap year yet. Okay, so yeah, so cool. Definitely share the page and go to our YouTube on the Naked Perception and subscribe to our page. We're trying to get the numbers up so we can stream live from YouTube at the same time. Oh, 43. Awesome. So thank you guys for tuning in. And
Yes.
what?
No, I was just that was something in my head. I was trying to think of who the 43rd president was. That's all.
Was it abroad?
It was Bush.
But he was 43 and 44, wasn't he?
When you're president, like if you're president in consecutive terms, you don't get 43 and 44.
Oh.
I think you just stick with one number. I could be wrong. That's why I was thinking. Because
Okay.
like Trump was 45.
Who?
Trump.
Who's that?
Oh, sorry.
People keep saying that name. I don't remember him anymore. And somebody won the Super Bowl last Sunday. I don't know who won.
Tampa
Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Super Bowl.
Huh?
Congratulations, Tampa Bay on the Super
It was
Bowl.
a good game.
I didn't watch one snap.
I forgot it was coming on.
Yeah, it did.
Nobody wants to see a white supremacist play.
Who?
But anywho,
We're not going.
Wait, hold on a second.
Wait.
Who's
We're-
the white
Wait,
supremacist?
we're not.
Tom Brady.
We're not. We're not going there. That's a topic
We're
for
not.
another day.
We can't. I don't have the
I
strength.
stick by my statement.
How do you know he's a white
He
supremacist?
supported Donald Trump.
How do you know that?
He did.
He did. He's a very avid Donald
The
Trump.
first time
supporter.
around. So did Brandon Marshall. He's black.
Okay.
The first time around.
He supported Donald Trump.
The first time around, yeah.
He's a reinforcer of white supremacy. He ain't exempt either.
But oh,
He can't be a white supremacist, but he can reinforce
Yeah,
white
tomorrow.
you
supremacy.
need to watch the House of Cards. I mean,
It's
House of Cards.
perfect day, may we find love and
He thought
laughter
he was gonna
along
get
the
me.
way.
He thought he was
Don't say
gonna
Tom
trip
Brady.
me up.
Keep you.
Man.
You got
He was gonna
his
get
can
me.
we
He
can.
tripped
Y'all
me
need
up
to do
Till he
sports to
brings
me,
us
man.
together
Don't get me wrong. I'm not a big
again.
Tom Brady fan, but trust
Tom
me,
Brady is a whole.
he is
white
not a
supremacist.
white supremacist.
Yes, he is. You support a white supremacist, you're a white supremacist.
Okay, thank you for joining us on The Blunt Truth, and this is a topic for another night. So don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. Good conversation, Todd. You have a very calming energy. Jamie,
Yes,
you're
Brandon
very
Marshall has
strong-willed,
issues.
and that
This
is a
documented.
gift. Nate is a man of conviction and principles. You all are great. Well, thank you. Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate that. And I will probably see you tomorrow.
It's a part of the Samoan culture that
Thank
you
you,
have
Brandon.
to become
Appreciate that.
good. I do a
He's
hawk
Samoan.
next
He's
week.
like that Aquaman.
Yeah.
I always feel on him. By the way, that's just what I do. So
Yeah, that's like
Okay.
sexual harassment.
yeah, it is. But I
HR.
don't give a fuck. Yeah. So anyhow, but thank you guys for joining us, and we love you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Tom Brady?
Yeah, I said it and I meant it.
Go. We're done.
Oh
We
my
are
God.
done.
How can you be a white
Yeah, Tom Brady's a whole Klansman.